What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. If you're watching this here on Sunday, my neck is still really rough, so I'm sitting kind of weird, but don't mind that. Had a lot of fun streaming World of Warcraft Classic with a lot of you yesterday. I think my internet should be fixed later this week. It's been an absolute mess thanks to Spectrum. It shows decent upload speed, but it seems to consistently be dropping out no matter what I do. So I promise to get that fixed. Borderlands 3 is a game that, well, has been much maligned with some folks. Now, I think I learned a lesson the first time I went through covering big video game releases. When I first covered Fallout 76, I think looking back at it, I was probably enjoying it too much, putting off fans of the game and ending up as being seen as an enemy. I don't want that. I don't want Borderlands fans to hate me because I'm pointing out things that aren't working with the game. Overall, and I will say this and try to be as clear as possible, if you like Borderlands 3 and if you're having fun with it, I legitimately am happy for you. I think that above all else, above all the superficial stuff that I tend to report to on this channel, things with video games and all this stuff. Above all, life is short. Video games are supposed to be fun. And if you're having fun with Borderlands 3, or if you're having fun with Fallout 76, or you're having fun with any game that has some sort of trouble going on, you're winning. Okay, so, hopefully you'll understand that that's where I'm coming from. Maybe I've grown, but I feel like, hey, you know what? There are some video games that I like that a lot of people don't like, and I don't know if I'd love people just gleefully dumping on it all the time. But this case with Borderlands 3, everything from 2K Games sending goons to a YouTuber's house, from the Epic exclusive to everything else that 2K Games involved in the NBA 2K20 bonanza, it's got a lot of people divided. And the current reviews, while have improved from, I think, 3.8, which is what I was seeing, 38%, still only sitting at a 52% with over 1,100 reviews at this point. The community seems definitely divided. Now, it's frustrating. I wish I could just head over to the Epic Game Store and look at reviews from people that have absolutely verified purchased the game. Boy, that would be nice. If I was looking at a game in the Epic Game Store and I could look at reviews from people that have confirmed purchased the game, boy, that would be a great feature. I don't know if anybody else on the internet puts that type of feature into their marketplace, but if they did, it would definitely be an awesome tool for me who reports on these things. Because the problem with Metacritic ultimately is you don't really know if these people bought the game or they're PC users who are mad about the Epic exclusivity. And there are absolutely people who are. Now, at this point, it would appear that the game has not been cracked yet, according to cracked.com, or is it cracked.com or crack tracker? I forget what it is. But people are furiously hoping that it will get cracked sooner than later. It's probably the biggest game that has had the most emotional cheerleading behind getting the game cracked. Now, if you are someone who sails the high seas, that's cool. I mean, I think ultimately when you put things like de novo DRM in your game, it's only going to make people mad. People who weren't going to buy your game aren't going to buy it anyway, and people that were going to buy it only get a worse experience because it is always online DRM, which means people that don't have reliable internet connections can't enjoy your game, although there is an offline mode. And people who stream it have troubles because it's been reportedly pushing a lot of bandwidth. Now, more people are reporting on the upload of the DRM software being in the kilobytes, the 100 to 400 kilobytes as opposed to what we were seeing earlier. So maybe they've fixed something like that. There were some initial reports of people basically being unable to stream the game simply because they didn't have super premium ultra internet, and the de novo was taking up too much of their bandwidth. Maybe they've quietly fixed that. Maybe better data has come out. but it's been interesting to watch. Certainly, and without being able to deny it, the game is half-baked. There are many game-breaking bugs. There is significant uneven performance. So that does lead me to believe that some of these reviews are coming from a position of I do own the game. You don't need to dig far. You can see here, fans outrage over Borderlands 3 PS4 Pro and Xbox One performance. Borderlands 3 on PS4, Xbox One. Happy fans turned into disappointment for some as console players are reporting devastating issues with game performance. Console players can choose to switch between prioritizing resolution to cap the frame rate at 30 or prioritizing performance to increase the rate to 60 FPS and render the 1080p resolution. However, for some, the game's performance mode completely tanks the system, and players have reported frame drops as low as 10 FPS, a far shot from the promised 60. Quote, I'm getting bad frame rate right now on PS4 with small amounts of skags in the screen. I can already feel frames dropping, and it gets worse when I open menus. Also, the aiming feels a bit off. I don't know. That's just me, one Reddit user. A lot of people talked about having some input delay as well. Runs terrible on my PS4 Slim. I get that it's an aging console, but the menus are so slow, and it feels like it's running at 20 FPS. Hopefully there's a performance patch, another said. These are all things that a game should have wrapped up at launch, ideally. Sadly, in today's modern-day AAA video game world, we don't get complete games. We get games that are 70% of the way. People play it, and, you know, the real sad thing is that so many of the hardcore fans, in this case for Borderlands, but it's no different for, like, Fallout 76. Yeah, it's funny to dunk on it if you're not, like, a hardcore fan. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy Borderlands 2 a lot. It made me fall in love with co-op play. But the saddest thing is your hardest core fans, the fans that will continue to support you, they don't get that great of an experience because by the time you actually fix it, they finish the game. And they can either replay the game with slightly better performance, which hardly anyone will do, or they will have just experienced a subpar video game because you had to rush it out. Now, I'm sure it will be better in 6 months when I can purchase it on a marketplace where I can actually see reviews of people that have confirmed play the game. And look, I do want to play Borderlands 3, but as I've said, my backlog is gigantic, and so I don't feel like I'm really sacrificing anything by holding off, especially when you see how things are performing. When you have giant... oh, by the way, sick of not getting my notifications? Go to www.thequartering.com. This little thing will pop up to allow notifications. You can open a browser on your phone and do it, or you can do it from your desktop browser. I'll leave it in the pinned comment down below. Once you allow it, you'll get a notification every time I upload a video, so you don't have to rely on YouTube sending it or me tweeting it or anything. It'll be your direct line to when I upload videos. I don't do anything with your data. I'm not going to send junk, only the videos. But when you have big media outlets writing entire articles on Borderlands 3 bugs and how to fix them, that's not a good sign. That is a half-baked project. And to be totally honest, they probably didn't want to release in October because so many games release in October and November. But this game feels rushed. It feels unfinished based on all these articles talking about mission objective marker disappearing. The vehicle I needed for the mission got destroyed and won't respawn. The person I'm supposed to talk to isn't there. I get stuck somewhere and can't move. Game crash. Yeah, sorry. This is one bug we didn't find a solution for. It happens sometimes. Thankfully, there are plenty of checkpoints in the game. No! No! Not thankfully there are checkpoints. The game should work. Borderlands 3 intro sequence, bugs, and everything else we know. I mean, there's just... bugs should not be the headline. This is on Friday as well. Loads of bugs. Here's another article. Just came out this morning. Borderlands 3 on console. Use resolution mode, say experts. So experts are saying, yeah, the game doesn't work. You should definitely tone it down. Even if you have, you know, PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, consoles that are supposed to do 4K, 60, or, you know, it's supposed to do, I'm sorry, ultra high resolution, 60 FPS. you have to turn it down. A brand new game in September 2019 is not optimized for the console that most gamers have. This is unacceptable. Digital Foundry says trading FPS for image quality is the better choice. No. The better choice would have been to have your frame rate working properly in the mode that is advertised. You have had 6 years. As Borderlands 3 players complain of slipshod performance within the first week of the game's launch, Eurogamer's Digital Foundry has examined the console's version's frame rates and found some puzzling technical decisions, but vouches for overall gameplay. Of course they do, because we know 2K Games will disallow you review copies if you don't say good things. That's why I don't trust any of these corporate reviews, because we know that's what 2K Games does. This is a well-known fact. PS4 Pro running Borderlands 3 in the same mode also seems performance issues, but worse than the Xbox One X. Resolution priority mode, the Xbox One X plays well, but unfortunately, the PS4 Pro does not. Digital Foundry says the frame rate there sinks to the mid-20s in combat from being in the 60s. That's ridiculous. We're comfortable playing any length of time. That's because the 1800p image quality plays at an evenly paced 30 frames per second, where performance mode seems to routinely be dripping below 60 frames a second, down to 40 frames per second when fighting or in a vehicle. The bulk of gamer disappointment for Borderlands 3 performance so far is with the PC version, where they've lit up forums, including Borderlands 2's on Steam, with pleas for help and descriptions of frame rate stutter, despite all attempts with the game's performance settings. It may be of no comfort, but at least they're not alone. If Eurogamer's technical gurus are finding that consoles aren't having optimal go of it either. That's unacceptable. Why do we keep accepting this? Oh, it sure would be nice. It sure would be nice if Borderlands 3 was for sale on a platform that I could return the video game if it's not working well. It sure would be nice if there was a platform on PC that not only both allowed reviews of people who have verified purchased the game, but also allowed people to return games if the games is an unfinished mess. Boy, it sure would be nice if there was a platform out there like that. I really wish there was. Now, there is an absolute, guaranteed reason 2K Games does not offer these things, and that is to protect the developer. Make no mistake about it, they have no interest in allowing reviews. They have no interest in allowing people to easily return games that aren't working well. They flat out don't, which is a big reason huge AAA publishers will choose the Epic Games Store. Look, I know a lot of you don't care about that, and that's fine. To be honest with you, if you really want Borderlands 3 and you want those features, you can just wait 6 months. Big deal. There's actually a huge population of people still playing Borderlands 2, so you could play that for the next 6 months if you really want Borderlands. If you read any of the corporate shill reviews for Borderlands, even they are simply saying, look, it's more Borderlands. It's not anything fancy, but like I've always said, for people that really want sequels or continuations, that's what they want. For Final Fantasy and other JRPG series and Dragon Quest series, it's basically every new game is just more of that game, and people love it. So there's nothing necessarily or inherently wrong with that. But when you're looking at the PC reviews, the Metacritic reviews, still split right down the middle. 534 negative, 534 positive. And if you look at just like even the most recent, September 14th, loved Borderlands, here's a 15th, positive, mixed, positive, positive, negative. So they seem like they're getting a little better. Worse than Destiny 2. It blows my mind that things are being considered AAA games. Here's a 10. A lot of BS reviews just targeted at Epic. I didn't see that. When I first reported on these reviews, there were hardly any of those. Gameplay and the sounds are all great. Why the low scores? Performance issues. And the fact that from the moment you leave Pandora, the game turns into a big hunk of virtue signaling politically correct junk, which is very odd and disappointing when compared to Borderlands 2. 0. The review contains spoilers. Here's one referring Epic. Epic Store sellout Randy Pitchford and Gearbox made the game that is almost identical to the last. Borderlands 3, Borderlands games and are the last Borderlands games, and are swimming in cash from the soulless masses that don't care about consumer practices. Well, that's an aggressive one. Here's one about Epic Store. Great game, terrible performance. I have an incredibly powerful computer, but the optimization is so bad that if I try to use snipers and the game starts stuttering like crazy. Barely playable on the lowest settings, and he's got a GTX 1070, which should be absolutely plenty. Most people, even that give positive reviews, seem to continue to mention performance issues. Borderlands franchise entry we know and love, lots of fun gear, loot twists, and great cast of characters. PC game does need further optimization. I'm seeing frame rate drops in the mid-50s, running a 1070 GPU on medium settings. Again, it's so sad that people want to leave a positive review and they still have to talk about how the game isn't performing right. I think even if you're a diehard fan of Borderlands, you should be able to agree that you deserved better, because most people are going to play through under these poor conditions. The hardcore fans, the biggest fans of Borderlands, pre-ordered it. They've already played. Many people have already completed the campaign mode, which takes about 30 hours to complete. Maybe they're replaying through it even by now, and they've had to endure a suboptimal experience. Randy Pitchford, this is not acceptable. 2K Games, this is not acceptable. But as long as people continue to purchase games in this manner, they're going to keep doing it. So I hope that people will learn a little bit of patience, allow a game. Look, I don't even buy my video games for the most part till they've been out for several months, because this is why. Plus, a lot of times by the time I'm buying them, they're 50% off. So it's a win-win. I'm paying $20 or $30 for a game, and I'm getting all the bugs fixed. I didn't play Far Cry 5 until, last year? And I had very few issues with it. And I probably have a fonder memory of even the most hardcore Far Cry fans that bought it when it came out and had to experience a litany of glitches. This has to change. People have to continue to fight back, and leaving reviews is one great way to do it, because there's no doubt that at least some people are looking at these reviews and saying, I'm going to hold off on it. And there are a lot of people who are holding off anyway because of Epic Game Store. But the real tragedy here is that video game fans, huge fans of Borderlands 3, have had to play the game in a suboptimal state after having 6 years to develop that game. That is unacceptable. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Above, you'll find some links to watch more videos, as well as a nice big button to subscribe, which I hope you'll do. If you did enjoy it, make sure before you go that you leave a like and a comment on the video, because you are the #1 reason this channel continues to grow, and I appreciate you.